This footage from a city traffic camera shows Seattle police scouring this section of Aurora Avenue, where they eventually recovered 41 shell casings from at least 2 weapons.
It woke me up out of my sleep. It was, whew, at least 10 rounds. Ba, 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 ba. It just kept going.
Witnesses told police at least 3 suspects were involved. One person was exchanging gunfire with 2 others who were near a car on the other side of the street. Investigators say a car in the area ended up riddled with bullets.
And I know people that live in neighborhoods that have been shot up, so I definitely know that it is an issue.
This follows other frightening shootings in the area, including an incident captured on video that shows people shooting at an SUV and then speeding off and continuing to shoot at a car. Neighbors say there is ongoing crime and violence in the neighborhood.
Right next door, my neighbor's car got stolen. I see their houses are being robbed. My neighbor walks up to get a cup of coffee and gets beaten up in the middle of Aurora.
Some of the gun violence is tied to turf wars among pimps who run the sex trafficking. And Seattle City Council member Kathy Moore has been looking for solutions.
Because where you have pimps, you have drugs. Where you have drugs, you have weapons. Where you have weapons, you have violence. They're all connected.
I mean, I definitely see it, and anytime you're driving down Aurora, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's happening.
Councilmember Moore has talked about bringing back the no loitering laws as a way to better address the prostitution and the violence that follows.
We have teenagers, high school down the street, and the prostitution is very bad.
Joel Marino, KOMO News.
Meanwhile, neighbors are calling for an end to gun violence after a dangerous shootout overnight in North Seattle. Tonight, police still looking for at least 3 suspects. And I talked with Joel Moreno about what we know, the questions that we're asking police tonight, and the message one city council member has about the root of much of the gun violence in that neighborhood.
Well, frightening stuff. I mean, the only good thing that came out of this is that there's no reports of anyone being hurt, but it sounds like it is a shootout between at least 3 suspects. Witnesses were telling police that there was one person on one side of Aurora exchanging gunfire with 2 other people who were on the opposite side of the street. And when it was all said and done, and police got out there, there was at least 41 shell casings that they collected as evidence.
My goodness. So apparently looking for 3 people then, is that right? Do they have any suspect descriptions on those folks?
Nothing that they released to us today. I don't know how much information they got from witnesses other than that they saw, a person on one side of the street and 2 others on another side just firing away at each other. But no, we don't have any suspect description. The police are calling this a drive-by shooting. Little unclear if, it was a different vehicle that we understand there was also a lot of property damage to one particular vehicle where a lot of the rounds struck, but unclear if that was involved with these shooting suspects or just a car that was parked in the neighborhood there on Aurora. So don't have a lot of details about what police know regarding who committed this crime.
I'm sure you had a chance to talk with neighbors today. What are they telling you? Have we heard from any council members about this too?
Yeah, I requested an interview with Councilmember Kathy Moore. Still, we didn't hear back from her today. She has been very vocal about wanting to address the gun violence. She put in her newsletter that she had met with the North Precinct captain and got the captain to further increase the emphasis patrols along Aurora. Designated officers that are going up and down the corridor as a deterrent, as a visual deterrent, but also to be more ready to respond to crime as it happens. She has talked to us in the past about wanting to do something about bringing back the no loitering laws so officers can actually stop and speak to the people that are being trafficked, the prostitutes. Right now, Seattle suspended its no loitering law, and so police really can't just go up and interact with sex workers in the manner that they would need to be able to address the prostitution. And the reason that Councilmember Moore wants to do this is because there are a lot of ties between the sex trafficking and the gun violence. The traffickers themselves, the pimps, are armed, and they get into what are described as like turf wars with other pimps over who can control what areas, and the victims of this sex trafficking. All this is what the pimps are shooting at each other about.
And just to be clear, we don't know if that was the case with this particular shooting from overnight, right?
No, we don't have that information if this is tied to prostitution, but we have been told by police and city leaders that much of the gun violence along Aurora is tied to the sex trade.
What are some of the crime stats showing? Are they seeing an increase in this type of violence in that particular area of Seattle?
Yeah, I just today received an update from the North Precinct Advisory Council, which is a crime prevention group, mostly made up of citizens, but Captain Lori Agard, the North Precinct commander, sits in on those meetings, and she provides regular updates. And her most recent data that she shared with this group showed that violent crime in the North Precinct specifically is up 11% year to date, and the reports of shots fired has increased 5%. So the numbers were already high. We're seeing them actually increase. So it's concerning for everyone.
All right, grab your cell phone, and that brings us to tonight's Pulse Poll question. This is the question we're asking tonight. What is the most urgent issue to tackle along Seattle's Aurora Avenue North? Live look at the results here. 44% saying gun violence, 40% saying prostitution, 10% saying graffiti and vacant storefronts, and 6% saying congested traffic. To vote on this and add yours, scan the QR code on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll update these results coming up later in the show.